It was abandoned, man.
Yeah, it was abandoned. So but just looking at those times, it was magical. We everything was an adventure, and so I credit my brothers with that imagination. I remember in their room, and they would be like, "Junior, stay out of my room," So my two older brothers, they're 11 years older than me, twins, and they were like the coolest guys in the world to me, but I was the twerp. I was
the cornball. Yeah.
It's like
I was the older brother, so I know exactly what that. Yeah.
So, but
shut up. Get that little
mom or mom, hit him. Yeah. And so going into their room, and they had this steamer trunk, this big, and I remember it had the little clasp on this, and just opening it up, and there were all these comic books, and there was the smell too of like the old comics, but they had a lot of horror books. They had like creepy and eerie, and but they had Marvel too, and they had books in there too, just about UFOs and Bigfoot, and I remember just reading the stuff and trying to, they're coming, and Junior, you were touching my comics, I'm gonna kick your butt.
It's almost like when you went to your friend's house and they're like, look at my brother that gave me, and it was the Playboy. And then you'd hear steps and you'd
so just and then when I got to middle school, and the older kids, the 8th graders, had comic books and just like, oh, what's that, and they're explaining it to you, and then you end up. And back then, I remember it was 75 cents.
Yeah.
And just, being finding a quarter here, quarter there, and going and picking up a comic book. And then, other kids, like, into comic books too. And it's funny, even the thugs back then,
Let me see that.
Yeah. It's like, right. That's mine now, house. And so, but yeah, and just like my friends were into similar stuff too. And then when I got to high school, I had a teacher, Eric Levy, and he was my earth science teacher, and he started a comic book club for us. Actually, it was my friend William Peak, rest in peace, William Peak. He passed away this year, but William Peak was the one that approached Mr. Levy and asked him about starting a comic book club. And Mr. Levy himself, I think he had a friend that had a comic book shop that had closed down or something, but he brought all these comic books in for us, and it was westerns, it was like superhero, it was horror, and I remember just devouring anything that I got my hands on, and I credit it's funny because a lot of people look at comic books as like it's like, oh, trash, it's like
nerd,
or like there's nothing, it's not real reading, it's but I want to say that my scores, my reading scores, and in New York we had the Regents exams. We had the Regents exams, and it's like anything that involved like reading and writing, it just like shot up for me. And same thing in middle school, and it's like, well, what changed in my life, and I think it was the comic books that. And I think that's the thing. If a kid finds something that they're interested in, it could be a magazine about hip hop, or it could be about whatever, encourage them to read, because like for me it was comic books, and I think comic books, that's what really helped me, like step up my reading, like comprehension and stuff, and just it also awakened my imagination and my interest and stuff.
Well, because when we talked about the stories about like the comics and the games you would make up, and you're like, oh, I remember when you were talking about like having to make it to the second stop of the train, but you had to watch out for like the vampires, because the vampires were like the gangsters on the And I remember telling you, I'm like, wow, that's like a great way to deal with trauma, right? To not something's wrong, but as a kid you have to process it in your own way. So it's like, oh, they're vampires, or they're like the mutant, or we're gonna do this, or you have to get the cure, like you get these crackheads out, like
and I think in our narrative, in our world, we made ourselves the superheroes, or the heroes in the story, the survivors.
Well, and on top of it, you have to like I think people that have never been in an environment, or never have befriended people that have been in an environment or gone to those environments, they don't understand, like, there's a normalization in there that wouldn't be normal to you. And so, like, when you actually talk to people or you go, like, people find out, like, I'll go to North Philly, and they're like, but you're white. Like, North Philly is one of the most dangerous places in the world. Like, well, yeah, but, like, I know people. I go there, go shopping. Like, oh, you go to the north end of Hartford to get beef patties from Scotty's? Yes, I do. But, like, you don't go to the Windsor Ave one. You go to the Albany Ave one. That's dangerous. What are you talking about? It's dangerous. Like, to me, I'm like, you go to 140th Street for your soul food in Harlem? Stay on 125th. Why? And it's like, because they'll rob you. They know you're... I'm like, you don't think they know I'm different? Like... But I don't go there to go, hey, I'm different, and I'm still going to eat your food. Like, it's like, but like when you...
a lot of those places, it's, using common sense and, keeping your eyes open.
Yeah, it's like I'm not walking around with $3,000 out going, rob me, or I'm not walking around nervous, like, looking, like you just walk like you're supposed to be somewhere.
I think you're telling me, you left, was it Isaiah?
Oh, I brought Isaiah. Yeah. I brought Isaiah to Scotty's for the first time, and like the last thing he heard was my wife go, "I don't know why you have to go to all those places. It's more likely you're going to get in trouble." And I'm looking at my wife, and I'm like, "If you went with me, it'd be more normal because you, like, no disrespect, but you look like everybody there. A big white guy walks in, people are going to know, And she's like, "But I'm not going there because it's dangerous." And so that's the last thing Isaiah hears. So we pull up, and he's looking around, and he's like, Dad, what am I supposed to do? Like, act like you've been here before. Like, if your father can walk out with me, you can walk out. He's like, what are we doing here? I'm like, we're getting beef patties. He goes, can I get cocoa bread? Yeah. All right. And he, like, hopped out the car and went in before I did. And I'm like, there you go. I just normalized, like, he didn't, like, I'm like, this is not a dangerous place. Like, is there more crime here than maybe other? Yeah, but there's also more people here. Like, I try, like, and I think that's...
And there's a certain time to be there, too. Like,
I'm not going at 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
like,
you're not going to be there at a stupid hour.
No, but, like, it's like, even if I was there, I wouldn't bring you. I'm responsible. I'm not bringing you. If I'm there, I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing anyways. But the idea is, like, for me, you meet people along the way. You go, like, I go shop, I go get sneakers. I love sneakers. So, like, Philly has size 15 and 16 sneakers in every store. You go to Connecticut, even in New York, you're like, hey, do you have a size 16? They look at you like you're crazy. I'm size 16. You can order them, right? You go down to Philly, you're like, Sneaker Villa. You're like, yo, you got 15? Oh, that whole wall. You're like, oh. I'm like, my people. Yeah. Like, I'm here. And so, like, I try to explain it to my own kids, just like I explain it to kids everywhere else. It's being intelligent, not moving in an ignorant way, but acting like you respect the people around you, and that you should be there, right? Like if you go into any place nervous and out of place,
people are going to see that.
People are going to see that, and people smell fear. Like I always, you always hear dogs can, animals can sense fear. So can people. Like people know, and like I even argue sometimes with like my family members. I'm like, listen, I can get shot and killed in Greenwich just as easily as I could in the worst neighborhood,
especially nowadays.
Yeah, I said like, even in a worse in a worse neighborhood in Searcher City here. I'm like, the problem is people fear what they hear about this place, so they don't want to go there. And when they do go there, they roll their windows up. They're like, I don't have anything in common with these people. It's like, I remember talking to you about and my barber about that guy who was in Puerto Rico in San Juan, and he went to that one neighborhood, and he's like videotaping.
La Perla.
And at first, I remember I was like, he must have been white because he was, and my barber was like, no, he's black, and I'm like, why, like. And then you start to realize, because even that, look at my train of thought is like, it has to be a white person that doesn't understand that. And then my barber's like, he's black. And then I'm like, oh shit, I did it. Like I assumed, right? And it's like, you've never been to an area where people are doing things that they shouldn't do. The one thing, like, even if you've never been to that area, you ever like watch Goodfellas, you ever watch New Jack City, you ever watch like any gangster movie, and
there's just like commonalities, no matter.
Yeah, like don't put illegal activities on camera. And it's like, yes, do I condone what happened to that person? No, like that was brutal. But I'm like, you're in another society, in another city. Why were you there in the first place? Like, why would you showcase?
No, and if you're there by a tourist, and I think like when I was in the Navy and wherever we went, you know what, you respect, even if you don't like it, you abide by the rules, the local rules, because you don't understand the rules there, and so. And like I remember going to Naples, and somehow we're like, damn it, it's like, I get to travel anywhere I want to in the world, and I end up in a ghetto again, just in a different country, but being fine there, and finding a place, getting like good food, and meeting some good people, and it was just because there are certain rules that. You just follow,
and they're kind of universal. It's just respect.
Exactly,
it's
universal
respect.
rules. Yeah,
to me, it's just respect. It's like I respect you. I'm not going to judge you because you live here. Just like I don't want you to judge me because I'm here, right? Like I'm making a transaction. I'm bringing money in. I'm not here to make a comment about you.
And so that's the thing with like La Perla, that what's that Justin Bieber's song that made it like real popular?
Oh yeah.
And so. Now a lot of tourists are going in there, and the people there don't mind the tourists. But it's always been like I was always told as a kid, don't go to that neighborhood because if you're not from there, you'll get messed up. But it's opened up a bit more, and it is a little touristy. It's beautiful. They got like neon.
Yeah, I saw it. Like it's but it's still whether you're there or in a upscale neighborhood, or in any neighborhood, you still have to understand that there's a level of respect you have to have. And you need to know how to listen. Like when somebody says put the camera away,
and that was the thing that
put the camera away. Like it's like, listen, I'm not. I know bad things happen. I've been witness to things both just visually and in it. And you realize, like, I don't want to be the guy getting hit in the back of the head with a bat 14 times or gunned down.
Yeah, I'm going to try to de-escalate this. Yeah. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I didn't.
My bad. Yeah. I'll buy you a beer. Because it's like that's their home. Like it's like I used to laugh when people would be like, I can't believe this shark bit him. Well, I'm sorry. Did he jump in the shark's home? Yeah. Right. It's like, okay. I'm not saying that the shark wasn't a little bit aggressive, but. I mean, you are swimming in the ocean.
Did what sharks do.
Sharks eat. That's what they do. And so, like, it's just, it's interesting to me. But to hear other people, they're horrified. It's like, don't go there. I'm like, but I think that's what bothers me too about, and it's usually the don't go there unless you're like driving through like a trailer park. A lot of the don't go there's are like neighborhoods with people of color, and it's like. Why are you worried about going there? Like some of the best food. Like I remember telling you, like when I go to Puerto Rico, I would love for you to be down there because I want you to take me to the places I want to eat at. Not the. I don't.
You don't want to be.
Yeah, I know what it's about. The tourist attraction. They're trying to make it more American.
Yeah, you want the authentic.
I want authentic. Like I want authentic. I remember talking to one of my friends who's from Jamaica, and he was like, I was like, yo. I want the beef patties and I want the jerk chicken and I want all this stuff. I want it from that shack.
But no oxtail, right?
Yeah, no oxtail because it's too close to the butt. Still, that's me. That's a gripe I have. But and he was like, I don't know, man, Kingston. I mean, they won't really mess with you if you're cool, but you are gonna stick out. I'm like, would I get? He was like. Well, if you walk in there throwing money, you're going to get robbed. Like because people are going to be like, "Who's he going to call?" Like, but he was like, "If you're with me, you're fine." Like he was like, "Nobody's going to mess with you because he was like," and then he told me like, because people think you hear Jamaica and it's English, but he was like, "No, like you need to understand certain," and I'm sure certain when you go to Puerto Rico, but there's certain. Words and certain mannerisms and things that eye contact and
even with my dad, like my dad would, Mira Junior, and I'm like, I caught about 60% of that. I think I could get by with that. Hopefully he won't call me on the 40% I didn't get. Yeah. And or even like my good friend down there, Cesar David, that will pick me up from the airport and stuff, and it's funny because his Spanish, my sister says his Spanish. I mean, he's very educated. He's an engineer, but she's like he's got that street Spanish. Like he'll be like, like "Que brutal, hombre," you know.
Yeah.
And just, but sometimes like he'll talk to me, and I'll just kind of like look at him, like yeah, and just